Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance, everybody. We got a serious topic that needs to be addressed. Many of you may be wondering, which total US ETF do I buy? Do I buy VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, or do I buy VOO, the Vanguard 500 Index Fund? In this video, we're going to compare these two amazing indices, and I'm going to give you my honest thoughts about which one I would buy if I actually was buying these, and why. And there's actually a very simple reason. So let's compare them. What are these two ETFs? If you want to invest in America, you have many options. These two options are very, very diversified options. The Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF on the left here has basically every stock that is publicly traded in the United States. Large stocks, medium stocks, small stocks, basically every single stock is represented in this ETF at market cap weights. That means the bigger companies have a bigger weighting and the smaller companies have a smaller weighting. VOO, on the other hand, is just the S&P 500, which is the top basically 500 companies by market cap in the United States. That's basically what it is. So when you compare the two, they're both very heavily into the United States market. They're US ETFs, basically US stocks, if that's all you want to buy. The VTI just has small companies, micro cap companies. The S&P 500 just has the top 500. Funny enough, these two funds have massive overlap. That's right. If you own one and then you buy the other one at equal weights, you actually basically have the same portfolio, as we're going to see. So you don't necessarily need to own these two, especially in a retirement account. So let's go and look a little bit more. So we have the two prices of the ETFs. Doesn't really matter. That's irrelevant because now you can buy fractional shares, and VOO is not twice as expensive as VTI. These are just the prices of the ETF. They are both issued by Vanguard, basically one of the largest investment product providers in the world, and my personal favorite. The expense ratio is exactly the same, 0.03. It's basically free to invest in all the stocks basically in the United States. Assets under management are very similar. Average volume. Now, funny enough, VOO seems to be a little bit more liquid. It seems like a lot more people are trading in and out of VOO than VTI. I don't know why they're trading in and out because it's supposed to be there for a long-term investment, but whatever. And then we have the index tracked. We already talked about that. VTI is basically the total stock market, every stock, where the VOO is just the S&P 500. Now let's look at returns. Let's compare VTI to VOO. If you love Christopher Bell, Strongman Personal Finance, if you think I'm a smart guy, if you want access to me, check out the pinned comment below, which will give you access to my Patreon and to my Discord, where I, Christopher Bell, will be available at all times to answer your investing or accounting questions. And if you want to sign up for the highest tier, you can actually meet me in person every other week and attend a private live stream every other week. So don't miss out. Check out the pinned comment. Come join the Discord and join an exclusive community of 10x index investors. If you had to guess, which one of these ETFs do you think is most popular with retail or individual investors? If you just had to guess, I would hazard a guess that VOO is more popular on the right. Why? Well, in the last month, it's drawn down less. And in the last 10 years, it's actually outperformed VTI by roughly 0.5% compounded annually over 10 years. And what most people do, and you can get mad at me for saying this, what most people do is they buy stuff that went up the most. So the average person will look at this and they'll say, well, VTI is pretty similar to VOO, but VOO went up more. It gave a little bit more returns over the past 10 years. Therefore, I'm going to buy VOO. I'm going to prefer that over VTI. I disagree with that reasoning, but we'll get to that in a second. So we keep going down and we cover some of the expense ratios. We cover the spread. They're basically identical. Okay, they're basically the same thing. Now let's look at some of the holdings. VTI is on the left, VOO is on the right. We can see the largest holding for each one is Apple, but Apple has a little bit smaller weighting in VTI. Why? Because VTI has more stocks, whereas the S&P 500 VOO only has basically 500 stocks. Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Alphabet, Tesla, etc., etc. All the top holdings are the same. You just own less, a slightly less percentage of the top holdings with VTI versus VOO, okay? These are basically the same thing, and you will basically get the same returns with each one of these. Even the yields, the distribution yield, the dividend yield is basically the same thing, okay? Now, what is my personal opinion on these two? Which one should you invest in? Well, either one is going to be fine, okay? At the end of the day, if you just want to buy U.S. stocks, bro, either one is perfectly fine. But if I was a U.S. stock only investor, which I am not, which one would I buy? Hands down, I would buy VTI 100%. Now hear me out. The past 10 years, VOO has outperformed VTI. That cannot be denied. It's in the numbers, okay? But I would buy VTI simply because there's a very important thing to remember about index investing. What is the philosophy of index investing? Most people, theoretically, will buy an index fund because they acknowledge that they don't have the time, the skills, whatever, the edge to pick stocks and to beat the market. So instead of trying to beat the market, they decide to match the market. They buy everything in the market because they don't know what's undervalued. They don't know what's overvalued. So if you had to choose, if you had a whole market available and you believed you really couldn't pick and choose, which one would you pick? Obviously, you would pick VTI. VTI is the entire market. You don't know the future. Small cap stocks could do insanely well over the next 10 years. I don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe large caps in the United States will continue to outperform. But the essence of index fund investing is that you don't know the future and you just have to buy the haystack instead of searching for the needle. That's actually a John C. Bogle quote. Don't look for the needle in the haystack. Just buy the haystack. What is the haystack? It is the total U.S. stock market. It is not VOO. These are extremely similar. You're probably going to get very similar returns going into the future. But if you kind of embrace the philosophy more of index fund investing, you would choose VTI over VOO, in my personal opinion. But you know what? VOO did go up more in the past 10 years. Can't be denied. So if you choose to invest in VOO, maybe your logic will work out for you. So that's it. That's my thoughts on the two. Either one, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you buy and hold it, it doesn't really matter, okay? If you're investing a ton of money every month, even if you underperform one or the other, you're going to be fine in the long run. But you need to understand and embrace what index fund investing is all about. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something, and have a wonderful day. Cheers!